Arsenal 1, Everton 0 is how it finishes. Let's take a look at what that means at the top of the table. As you were, I suppose, for the top two. Remember, Aston Villa in action on Sunday. We'll get to Chelsea later on in the show. But as it stands, Arsenal 2 points clear at the top of the table. Don Hutchison joins us. Don, overall, Arsenal, of course, delighted, especially with City winning so easily. Going to Everton, not an easy task for Arsenal, yet they get the job done.
Exactly that, Dan. It wasn't a classic. It wasn't a brilliant performance. It was professional. I thought they got lucky. I agree with the boys. I thought it was a stonewall penalty. I thought Arsenal got very lucky. I've got no idea why the referee didn't spot that in real time. But when it goes to VAR, surely they're sitting there. They see the same contact that we saw. It should have been a penalty, and Arsenal got lucky. But listen, they're getting away with it. They weren't particularly good last week when they scored a couple of... Well, Wolves scored a couple of own goals. That gifted them the win. They're just about getting by after the slight wobble against Crystal Palace. I think what's quite apparent after the last two games from an Arsenal point of view, they've got some seriously difficult fixtures coming up in the next 4 or 5, and they're going to have to improve.
I mean, 2 own goals last week, a volleyball punch from a centre-half or a defender this week. OK, Trossard missed one and there was a couple of others.
Still to go to Everton, get a result.
Yeah, I know,
but
they've got a result. But the big, arguably, if the penalty had been given and scored, they wouldn't have got a result. That is one of the big talking points. We have a very tight title race at the moment between 2 teams. At the moment, might be more, probably not. And we have these big decisions now. Had this decision gone with the boot from Saliba against Arsenal, we know what Arteta's like. And by the way, what about that set piece coach at the end of the game? Did you see him bobbing around there? He needs another opposing coach to come up and give him a slap. Seriously. He's bouncing around like Zebedee in the touchline. Yeah. He's a set-piece coach.
It's exciting. They just won a big game.
Well, what can you say? All you've got to do is look at that. But the scary thing is, the VAR looked at that and thought it was OK. You can't explain that. But neither the three of us can turn around and actually try and explain what the guy in the VAR booth is thinking coming up with that decision, because it's just complete and utter bonkers, as Craig said. It's a penalty kick. It's not even close. It's 100%. It's a stone wall. Any which way you want to cut it, it's a penalty kick, and it's not given. Absolutely shocking.
I'll tell you what they'll be saying.
Shocking.
And I've heard that already this weekend. Oh well, he has caught him, but there wasn't enough to knock him over there.
Right.
That kind of rhetoric, where they're now gauging, how much. I mean, at the end of the day, Saliba took a swipe at the ball in the penalty area, was late, and caught. I think it's Barry. Caught him on the sole of, or caught him on the foot. Crystal clear, and OK, maybe there's a little overreaction, but when somebody swipes and catches you in the feet, the boot, then you're going to feel it. So. I mean, David Moyes on the sideline looked remarkably calm, bearing in mind that decision didn't go the way. But as I said, had that gone the other way...
We thought we had missed something.
Arteta
That's how calm he was.
Yep.
Because any of us would have been going absolutely bonkers. You can be sure Arteta would have been going absolutely bonkers. And we thought we'd actually missed something. Had there been another foul? Had there been an offside? We couldn't figure out why it wasn't given. That's how clear it is.
Don?
It's just bizarre. I mean, when you're commentating on games, Dan, we've got the luxury of having the VAR team talk in our ears, so you can half hear what they're trying to explain and what they think they saw in the game. Obviously, watching the game at home, you've not got that, so you're trying to second guess what they saw. But they're going to have the conversation. Was there any contact? Well, yes, there was, and it's a skill, by the way. If you're, say, Tieno Barry, who was involved with Saliba, it's a skill to get there slightly earlier, knowing that the centre-half, Saliba, is then going to try and kick the ball. He's mistimed it, Saliba. He's caught him on the sole of the foot, ankle, if you like. It's a skill getting there just ahead of the defender. And I cannot believe what the conversation would have been, because it ticks the boxes for a foul. I'm not a fan of the saying, but anywhere else on the pitch, it's a foul. And inside the penalty box for Everton, that should have been a penalty. If they convert it, it's 1-1. It's a completely different game. But the VAR team this weekend have not had an opening good day on a Saturday. We'll get into the one, I would imagine, at St James's Park later. But that was a poor one from my point of view.
Meanwhile, Don, Manchester City, they kind of got their swagger, haven't they? That they had a couple of seasons ago, you feel? This was so easy for them.
17 goals, I think, Dan. Yeah, 17 goals in the last 5 games. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I could go to town being on commentary today for how bad West Ham were. I mean, Nuno picked a back 4 today when it was screaming out for a back 5. And he played Paquetá as a false 9. He had Somerville to the left and Jared Bowen to the right. And he basically said to those 3, do not bother tracking back. We've got a young boy in Ollie Scholes at left back. Leave him on his own. And Ryan Cherky just went like that. And he stood on Ollie Scholes all the first half. And the poor kid got destroyed because of the lack of defending from a West Ham point of view. With City, as you mentioned, 5 wins on the spin, 17 goals scored. They're looking the real deal. They've got 2 away fixtures coming up, which will be difficult on paper. They've got Forest and Sunderland. You know, that's 2 games. If they pass the test and they go 7 wins on the spin, that is some serious pressure on Arsenal.
It's hard to feel sorry for West Ham, though, isn't it?
You say Forest and Sunderland, Don?
Yeah.
Sunderland have got half their squad missing,
Forest
aren't they? I don't think, when you think of hard games...
Well, I wouldn't say West City have got the swagger either. I mean, they're playing West Ham. Yeah.
No, I understand that.
And by the way, West Ham, I've got no sympathy for West Ham because they got away above the station with this David Moyes things. Yeah. European finals, albeit the conference, you know, pushing for the top 6, and they got this view that, wow, it's the West Ham way. It's not how we play. Well, all right, go and visit the Championship again. And sometimes that's what it is. You just always you're just never happy, and it felt West Ham fans were never happy, and now they've got a bunch of garbage. They've had Potter, they've had Nuno. Who else have they had? I don't know who else they've had. I can't remember. I don't really care. As for Arsenal, they're hardly convincing at the moment, are they?
Are we going back to Arsenal? I thought we were talking about City.
Yeah, well, City and Arsenal. City have got a little bit of swagger about the way they play. Arsenal have lost theirs. To be honest with you, watched Wolves and this game, although we were covering mainly the Real Madrid game, so I didn't watch it all. I didn't see it all. But they don't look, and I think there is a conversation to be had. Eze was out the team today. Odegaard's back fit. He's in them. Are they really better with Odegaard in there? Or is it Eze? Because when they pushed Eze out wide against Aston Villa, he didn't look as happy. And that's a bit of a conundrum for Mikel Arteta. And Gyökeres got his goal from the penalty spot again, but he's not getting it from open play. But yeah, they've picked up 6 points the last 2 games, but they've been particularly with the decisions a little lucky.
City have been way more convincing in the last couple of weeks than Arsenal.
Yeah,
I mean, Arsenal were the better team today. Let's not.
Oh, but considering
they were the better side, but
how many weeks ago we were suggesting that maybe this title was over.
Yeah.
Now we're in a situation where we're thinking we've seen this movie before.
Yeah. Well, as soon as Haaland scored the first, I thought the game was over. And then, I mean, not just because it was West Ham, but I just got that feeling. That feeling you used to get 2 or 3 years ago with City. Whenever they scored, you knew it was done, and you were just wondering how many. And that's kind of what it was. Now, again, should cool down. It is West Ham.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're the team that look settled. They're the team that look dangerous. They're scoring goals. And Arsenal don't. Arsenal don't look as though they're going to score goals.
And Erling Haaland on the score sheet twice again, Don. It's unstoppable.
He's just a machine, isn't he? I mean, he won't score too easier goals, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, the guy just churns out the games. He's very rarely injured. For a player that hardly gets any touches, you look at the goal tally that he's getting. I mean, the 52 in 22-23 was just outrageous. But he's not far away in every single season that he plays. I mean, he has the few assists along the way. It's the consistency. As I said before, he leads the line without touching the ball too many times. So when you look at his XG and when you look at how many touches he has, he's quite prolific when he gets the couple of chances. He was frustrated at the end of the game because he was waiting for that one more chance to get another match ball. But when you watch him play, he makes finishing look very easy, and he's just a born goal scorer. Some people, when they're trying to score goals, can make it look difficult or a struggle. When some players going through 1v1, you go, nah, don't fancy him, or maybe. When Haaland goes through, you go, fancy him every single time. And the best thing is when he misses one, it doesn't seem to affect him. He's got this ability not to suffer like any sort of confidence crisis. When he misses one, he doesn't go under. If he misses another one, he's confident another chance is going to come. And that is like elite performance, but elite mentality.
Is he in the top 20 though?
Is he better than Mark Hughes?
Is he? Shall we have that conversation again? Let's chuck out some names.
Quentin Mariska said at half-time, because it was a very different Chelsea that came out after the break to get the draw against Newcastle. Once again, Newcastle let a lead slip. They remain in the bottom half of the table. What's the big talking point here, Craig?
Well, Voltemara should have made it 3-0 before half-time.
He miscontrolled it, didn't he?
With a ball in. Similar ball from Anthony Gordon. Harvey Barnes came on, should have scored at the back post. So and even I think their XG was almost double what Chelsea's are. So Newcastle had their chances. They've gave a lead up again. They didn't convert the chances they created. What I would say was, in the second half in particular, Chelsea played some really nice football.
Yeah.
Played some good stuff. They were the much more controlled side in the second half. Particularly Caicedo and Cole, getting those when Fernandes came on, was getting those little balls around the corner. Whenever the centre-halves played it into the midfield, they were able to whip it around the corner quickly and get at that Newcastle back four. So I thought they played some really nice stuff. I thought Garnacho was a little wasteful again in the final third at times, and that's a problem. But I thought Chelsea played some really, really good stuff in the second half. But the downside for them was, they found themselves 2-0 down, had to go in, probably give everybody a shake and rattle them to get them going. So there's some positives there, there's some negatives from Chelsea's perspective. I think from Newcastle, is it 11 points they've lost or something like that from winning positions this year? You just can't keep it going. They play some really great stuff. They create some great chances, but they're making bad mistakes defensively and they're not killing teams off at the other end. But that being said, from a Premier League point of view, I thought it was a really, really good game to watch.
Most definitely. And if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'm watching this and saying, why don't we play like we did in the second half more? Because, as Craig said, they played some great football there.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to give Newcastle a bit of credit to begin with, because they came out at 100 miles an hour. And that's when they're at their best. And Chelsea just really couldn't, they didn't have an answer for it. But in the second half, you see the difference between Chelsea and Newcastle in the second half. Chelsea are in control. The football they played was controlled football. They slowed it down, they speeded it up. Unlike Newcastle, who, at their best, at 100 mile an hour. But first half, it's got to be down to the manager. I did say you got to give Newcastle credit, but at the same time, the manager's job is to send his team out on the field ready to face whatever the opposition's given at you. And Newcastle are going to start quickly, so you have to match that. That's down to the manager for me, but can't complain about the second half. Real football team.
But you always say, you need to start quickly at home, and you need to, that word, we used it in the Spanish game, and Luis Garcia did it, intensity. But maybe sometimes that intensity is too much from Newcastle. And they
run out of steam.
They run out of steam. You remember Barcelona at home in the Champions League? Yeah. It was very similar. And all right, Barcelona, De Jong and Pedri took control in the middle of the park. But it's difficult to keep that pace up. Sometimes you need to do it and then stop. Do it and then take a breather. It feels at times that Newcastle don't take that breather. They get so excitable and they start winning the ball back and it's great, and they just continue to do it, and then these gaps appear as they start to cough the ball up and the game gets stretched, and that St James's Park crowd is just wheeling them forward, and it's sort of gung-ho, which is great, and I'm sure the supporters lap it up.
When it's working.
But there is absolutely no way you can keep that going for the bulk of a game, and you saw in the second half how Chelsea were just playing out from the back and picking them apart. And when Newcastle's chances came, it came when Chelsea were pushing forward and coughed the ball up. So there's a lot to like from both sides. But I think if Newcastle want to push themselves further up the league, they need to figure out a way how to take the steam out of games a little bit more and give themselves a breather.
Should they add a penalty, Don?
Call 999. There was an absolute robbery. How's it not a penalty?
911 here.
911, Don.
Worked very well.
911. Yeah, but honestly, it was a stonewall penalty. Chalobah makes no attempt to play the ball. And, as I said before, listening into the VAR, they said he was shielding the ball. That's the turning point in the game. I think Craig makes a good point in terms of Newcastle's energy. But, in terms of how the game went, Voltemara should have made it 3-0 just before half-time. That would have been game over. Harvey Barnes came on, missed a sitter with a left-foot volley. Just before that, he had I think it was Bruno Guimaraes who might have put him through 1v1 with the goalkeeper, and he took a heavy touch. Then Ante Elanga last 5 minutes had a 3v2 and he had a shot instead of passing it. So I think there was a lot to like from a Newcastle point of view, especially coming off the back of the shambles performance against Sunderland last week, where there was no fight, there was no quality, and they lost to an own goal from Voltemada. But I'll back Newcastle to beat anyone at home, because the crowd demand intensity and the crowd demand that they on the front foot and they chase and they trample all over teams. That's exactly what they done in the first half against Chelsea. I thought they were brilliant. They just couldn't see it through. Then, goals change games. The old saying, Reece James puts one into the top corner at the Leazer's end. Then you're thinking, right, the real Chelsea are playing now. And they got their tails up. And at 2-2, I thought, as I said, Newcastle could have won it. But the more the game was stretched in the last 5, I'm thinking Chelsea could win this. So I guess from a Newcastle's point of view, Dan, when you look at the goals and the points that they threw away, and every team can say it, Liverpool could say it, Man U could probably say the same things, but I reckon Newcastle have left a good 8 to 10 points out there. They lost a couple of late goals against Arsenal, last second goal against Liverpool. When they were winning Spurs about 10 days ago, they drew 2-2 and Romero scored the bicycle kick, and another 2 points dropped today. So things need to improve to try and see the games through and make sure they collect the 3 points, because with a couple of more wins, they'd be sitting close to the top 5.